All right. With that, we are live. It is the final DFS MLB strategy show of the regular season. This is featuring your old pal Emac, who's got a little bit of a sinus cold going on, and one Adam Ship, my money sharer, who has been taking it easy because this is it, Adam. We're down to NFL, and then you get a nice little respite here, and then it's all NBA all the time.
Yeah, really excited for NBA to start. Always my favorite time of the year. But hopefully can close out baseball strong.
Yeah, that's God, I was on fire last night with my decisions, my choices. Everything was looking good, and then the late games happened, and all of my good place, but took the weather games out. Except I had 70% Vasquez and 60% Eovaldi.
Yeah,
Oops.
that'll do it.
Oops, sometimes that happens. All right, I think we are good here, and this is it. Good, they can hear us. Let me know if I have mic issues today, please. I had Josh help me with the settings. We think it's good. If not, the next step, of course, is that new mic. I took out OBS, brought it back in. Was a whole mess. I needed his help because it's technology. Technology 1, Emacs 0. Kind of how it always goes, Adam.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Hey, reminder, we are sponsored by one Yahoo Fantasy. Key thing you want to know about Yahoo Fantasy today is their main slate MLB starts at 2:15. The reason for this is because the Minnesota and Kansas City game was moved from a 6:15 local start to a 1:15 local start, which is 2:15 East time. Or East Coast time, and that is due to impending weather tonight. And that's something they apparently did yesterday afternoon, but I missed out on that. But we caught that on the show last night. So we got to keep an eye on that. And then reminder, if you have not yet signed up for the old Yahoo, you can utilize the link and promo code OSMO, which is in the third paragraph of any Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article. I will drop that into the Slack here shortly, or into the YouTube chat. Adam, we're kind of everywhere on this one. We're just, since it's our last hurrah, we'll just hit every game, including that 1 o'clock game. It's your Baltimore Orioles taking on Yolis Chassin, who has been getting strikeouts, but not much else. If there's any slate that has this game, how would you like to break it down with one John Means Business going against the Boston Red Sox?
Yeah, not interested in the pitching here. Chassin, obviously not a lot of strikeouts. Means a decent pitcher, but a tough matchup, assuming that we get any sort of competent Red Sox lineup. So not really interested in the pitching. Don't know what slate this is on, so don't really know what to compare the offenses to. But I think that, Boston does have a 6.1 implied run total, so pretty decent spot for them.
All right, now that we've got that out of the way. See, that's the best thing about Adam. He doesn't lie. Ever. So he says, yeah, Emac, why are you making us do this? I don't know what slate it's on, dumbass. Well, I have my marching orders, and then Adam follows the beat of his own drummer. And that's why we are a good pair together. So now on to our slates. So this one here is the 2:15. This one is on the Yahoo, so we will definitely talk about that. They have pulled it from Draftkings. I'm assuming they've obviously pulled it from Fanduel and Fantasydraft as well. I hadn't gone over there and done any peeking at that. But the one thing you do want to remember is over there on Yahoo, this starts at 2:15. This is their main slate. So I think a lot of people might be sorely disappointed if they don't get over there. They don't have giant contests today, but they also are probably not going to fill because it's going to catch people off guard by about 5 hours, and all eyes are on football at this point. So Adam, let's talk about Cody Stashik going against Glenn Sparkman. We again have some weather issues here. Minnesota has already said Kepler's out through the weekend, but they hope he's back next Friday when they're playing in their playoff game. They're unsure of Marwin Gonzalez. Last night, Miguel Sano was leading off. We had all kinds of craziness here. What would you like to do here in this game, particularly for Yahoo?
Yeah, so Stashek is just the opener. He hasn't even thrown 20 pitches in any of his major league outings yet, since September 4th was the last time he even threw 20 pitches in a game. So only expecting an inning or two out of him. Glenn Sparkman, of course, is terrible. Doesn't give you a lot of strikeouts, does give up home runs, and has a brutal matchup with the Twins. So all that I'm really seeing in this game is that, once again, I want to get to the Twins bats.
All All right. Oh, interesting. There's a new update on OBS. If I move you off the screen so I don't end up putting the mouse on you, it freezes you if it can't see you. This is interesting.
At least it doesn't turn me green.
That was epic. I don't know that can handle, or that can happen again. All right, now let's get onto the what we're calling the early slate. This will be the 307 set of games, or that's when it will be starting. It is 4 games set here, Adam. I'm going to grab a cough drop, but talk us through. I haven't seen a starter yet for the Tampa Bay Rays, but I do know Trent Thornton is going for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I don't see a starter yet for Tampa either. Thornton going for the Jays, not a spot where I really want to go to him. You have a 5.8 implied run total for Tampa. Huge favorable park shift for the Rays going into the Rogers Center, which has been the most favorable home run park this year. Tampa Bay it's not like they have a bad lineup. Thornton is an okay pitcher, but certainly nothing special. And, again, just a pretty tough matchup in a good hitter's park. So not looking at him.
All right, and then I'm just calling up one more site. Potentially, I thought I saw Ryan Yarbrough at some point when I was reading stuff last night. Here we go. So this little blurb says, well, it's not confirmed, but they think Yarbrough is going to actually be the starter without the opener. But he has been kind of crappy in his last 2 starts. He's allowed 12 total earned runs. That was in Anaheim, taking on a watered-down Angels lineup, and then against Boston. Give him a little bit of a mulligan there for Boston, but that's still pretty crappy. He went 63 pitches in that outing against Boston, but prior to that, 93, 102, 98, 68, 83, 99. So we know he's stretched out. We know he does have potential to be a starting pitcher. Perhaps Tampa Bay will let him go. If he is starting, Adam, let's look at that at the first point. We're suspecting go ahead.
No, go, you can finish.
I was going to say 90 to 100 pitches would be my guess. It feels at 7,700 that would be in play. If he's got the opener in front of him, a little less desirable. But we do only have 8 pitchers, and we're going to have to take 2 of them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. If he's starting at 7,700, it's pretty appealing. He only threw 63 pitches his last time out, but he gave up 6 runs in 3 1/3. Prior to that, 93, 102, 98 pitches in his prior 3 starts. So if he's starting, I would expect him to have the ability to go, as deep as he can, throw close to 100 pitches. It's a dangerous matchup in terms of power, but there are strikeouts in the Toronto lineup. And as you said, there's only 8 pitchers on the slate. One of them is Adam Plutko against the Nats. So in that price range, there's not a lot to really like. So if Yarbrough does get the start, I think he's a pretty good option.
All right, let's see. Gonna move around here on. As far as hitters going, Yi-Man Choi may or may not be in the lineup, but I do like Austin Meadows. I'm good with Tommy Pham and Travis d'Arnaud. You want to kind of go after Thornton with the lefties. However, for a rookie pitcher, he's been pretty good. And if you go look at the numbers, he's probably been the best Toronto Blue Jays pitcher. We had some disastrous results there towards the end of Marcus Stroman's tenure, and then I'm blanking on the guy. Aaron Sanchez was a little bit shaky before turning it around for those 2 or 3 magnificent starts with Houston before getting hurt himself. So, wow, the rookie Thornton. There we go. But remember, this is the team that did roll out Edwin Jackson at various points this season. Anything else from this game, Adam?
I'm with you on the left-handed hitters. Thornton's been decent. 335 WOBA, 213 ISO to lefties, 330 and 157 respectively to righties. So I think you do prefer, Wendell, Meadows in particular. Wendell's a really good value, and then Choi if he's in the lineup.
All right, let me see. Kiermaier would be the other guy that I wouldn't hate.
Brandon Lau also.
Yes. So those guys, then Nate Lowe. There we are. We've mentioned everybody, but your mileage may vary. Lofty somewhere is cringing because I said that. It's been months since I said that. Hey, I've got a fun stat for you when we get to Houston. Speaking of a long time drought there, but it is my belief that Kiermaier Pham and if in the lineup, Choi would be the guys to surround Austin Meadows with. So in any event, let's maneuver on to our next early game here. We have the Cleveland Indians, who were eliminated last night through a confluence of events from the wild card, which now has Tampa Bay and Oakland. Sorry, I did mean to say that for Tampa Bay. They're playing for home field now in the wild card. So Tampa Bay and Oakland are definitely the American League wild cards, but they don't know who's going to host that game yet. So both teams have something to play for. You've got Adam Plutko going against the Washington Nationals here. Nationals still kind of control their destiny to host their own wild card game, so we should see a decent lineup for them. We know that Adam Plutko does allow some home runs. We saw an Matt Adams sighting there yesterday. We have Juan Soto. We have seen Zimmerman here and there. So they've got their good bats. It ended up being Trey Turner that hit the home run last night. But I like these Nationals going against Plutko here.
Yeah, I like pretty much all the Nats. Pluko's given up power to both sides of the plate. 214 ISO to lefties, 230 to righties this year. 22.7% strikeout percentage to righties, only 10.8% to lefties. So Juan Soto really, really stands out. But guys like Turner, Rendon, Kendrick all have power and don't really strike out. So it's still a spot where you're expecting them to put the ball in play against a home run prone pitcher in Plutko. So really top to bottom, I think the Nats are a really good lineup, basically regardless of who's in it.
All right, I'm going to see what happens if I put this screen over here. Nope, that's bad. That takes you completely out. I will need Josh to help me adjust said settings here. We're now on OBS version like 24 or 25. I think mine was on 22. That was probably part of my issues with the sound. In any event, let's continue on here with our... Oh, sorry. Back to the other side. So Cleveland is out of it. It's unlikely that we're going to see Jose Ramirez. He was out yesterday. They said he came back early for that with that broken hamate bone. If you saw the pictures on Twitter, you could see his surgical stitches. It looked like his hand turned into the baseball with all the seams on them and the stitches sticking out. That was post operation, not when he was playing earlier. But he's someone who's interesting. He's going to be out, which in turn puts Patrick Corbin in play. You do have Jordan Luplow, Carlos Santana. We should probably see Oscar Mercado, but would it surprise you if you got a watered down lineup here from Cleveland since they are out?
Right, I was gonna say, like, if Cleveland runs out their normal lineup, then Corbin's still in play because it's a 4-game slate, and he's Patrick Corbin. But I think there's probably a good chance that you get the Cleveland hangover lineup, or whatever the opposite of the hangover lineup is, since
depression.
Since they were eliminated. So I think that Corbin's a good play regardless. There's a chance that Corbin ends up being a great play based on the Cleveland lineup.
All right, moving along here, our second of the 2 4:00 games. We have the Dodgers and San Francisco. Looks like we will have Hyun-Jin Ryu, who is... We could see him for 90 pitches. He's probably going to... What will he be? Their third starter? Probably their third starter. Maybe their second starter of the playoffs behind Kershaw. But he has gone in the low to mid-90s in most of his last few starts, if he has not, in fact, gone 100. I don't think they're going to go crazy because it is the Dodgers here and it is San Francisco. However, this is where we get to be a little bit of game theory, particularly on DraftKings. 10,900, pretty pricey. That's a 100-pitch price point. We're probably going to see 75-80 feels like about an 80% outcome for me, Adam. So then 10% outcome would be more than 80 pitches or less than 70 the rest of the way. How are you feeling about Hyun-Jin Ryu?
I think it's just really tough to pay up for him here. Like, I would just rather get the Corbin at a similar price point. Obviously, neither team really has much to play for, but I think that Corbin does have better strikeout stuff. The Giants lineup right now isn't the greatest strikeout matchup. It's obviously a really good park. It's a good run prevention spot, but I just don't really like the salary on Ryu all that much.
Yeah, and then Logan Webb, 5,800 here. That makes it hard, but he is going to go probably 90 pitches. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing against the Dodgers. That just is continual risk out there. However, again, 8 pitchers, and we got to play 2 of them here on DraftKings. So I think he's going to be in play somewhat. Even if the Dodgers put out their understudies, which it looks like AJ Pollock a little bit dinged up, Turner a little bit dinged up. Seager and Bellinger got the dingers last night. I don't know what we're going to see there from the Dodgers, but even if they put out their secondary players, they're still a damn good team and probably better than anything Logan Webb's ready to handle.
Yeah, I mean, the only real argument for Webb is that he's $5,800 on DraftKings. He's pitching in San Francisco. If we didn't have Zach Eflin going against the Marlins for a similar price tag, then I would think that Webb became more appealing. But as is, it's kind of just a ownership pivot if you're playing like 150 lineups in tournaments.
All right. Well, you said the magic word. Magic word of the early slate is Zach Attack. Zach Eflin. This will be the 5th time he has gone against Miami. He has been relatively neutral against them, but hey, it is Miami. So, and they are now with their worst possible lineup out there. I think he's the way to go. We're not going to be alone with this one. I'm going to ask the question. We know that Miami scores 6 or more runs about 23% of the time this season, which is a lot. Do you want to hedge stack if you're going to be playing Eflin?
Yeah, I think with it being the 4-game slate, you're going to get enough ownership on Eflin that it's worth it. He's not a particularly good pitcher. He's only struck out 19.1% of righties, 17.5% of lefties, and he's given up a lot of production to lefties. He's done a good job limiting it to righties. He's only allowed a 306 WOBA and a 144 ISO, but to lefties, a 361 WOBA, 238 ISO. Not going to be many lefties in the lineup, but I think you can look to Neil Walker and Isan Diaz, and then obviously just fill it out with guys like Castro, Alfaro, and Birdie that are good enough hitters or at least have some power. I think that he'll probably be high enough owned that it's worth having some leverage stacks against him.
All right, let me see here. We'll circle back on nothing and like it. Let's go over here to FanDuel real quick and just see what their pitcher pricing is for their early slate. Again, the Yahoo presenting sponsor slate, the main slate starting at 2:15 because of that game that has been moved ahead in Kansas City due to weather concerns. So we'll give you the pitchers and hitters as we go through the main slate there. But if we go over here to the old dueling fans, we have Patrick Corbin at 10.5, Hyun Ryu at 99, Eflin at 79, Caleb Smith at 71. How would you like to approach our 4-gamer here? Is it Corbin at the top and then Smith and Hyun Ryu as your potential tournament plays?
Yeah, it's Corbin and then Smith, basically.
If we get a depleted Cleveland lineup, would you just run all Pat Corbin and not worry about the other guys?
I mean, it depends what you're able to get as stacks. It looks like the hitting's cheap enough on the slate. You could probably do that.
All right. Then let's move along. A little timestamp here. So when I turn this into a podcast, we're 18 minutes in. We will let everybody know when they can get on to the main slate analysis. So for fun here, over there on Yahoo, I've put in 10 NFL lineups, head-to-heads, threw them out there. You guys can jump in on them. Those are the in the $1, because I'm the $1 baller here. In the $1 contest range, don't scoop them. They don't have a lineup blocker there, but let everybody have a chance to get one. That is for the old NFL. I've also got 10 out there at the dollar range on every single slate, classic style on DraftKings. So if you want to take on your favorite tout, which I should be your favorite tout, right? Your old pal Emac. There you go. Come get it. I know some of the other touts aren't out there, but hey, I am. And enjoy. And then make fun of me on Twitter, because that's always the added bonus. Join Seth and others making fun of me. Adam, starting off with our 7 o'clock game here, or our first game at 7:05, I should say. The Cincinnati Reds are now going to go with Lucas Sims. We know that Kevin Gausman is going to follow. Throw them out. You've got James Marvel on the other side. I'm not really excited about him. I am excited about Josh Van Meter, A. Eugenio Suarez, and Aristides Aquino. What do you want to do with our only 7:05 game?
Yeah, not much here in the way of pitching. Can't really make any argument for the guys on Cincinnati. I think that with James Marvel, you can make the argument that he's the best of the sub 5K DraftKings pitchers, which isn't really saying much on this slate, but sometimes that is valuable. So he's someone to at least keep in mind from that standpoint. 4.7 implied run total for Cincinnati is high, but it's not really that high by today's baseball standards. So Probably won't really need him on the slate, but if you do, I think that he's better than the guys around him.
All right. With regards to potentially considering Cincinnati as a leverage versus Coors Field or the Yankees in Texas, where would those kind of rank globally for you?
Sorry, I was reading about the White Sox game. What was your question?
Using the Reds as a potential counter move to Texas, the Yankees in Texas and Coors Field.
Not
I say that just because they're so consolidated with where their power should be is kind of to finish that thought out.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that appealing just because of the park and because they're not that good of an offense. Like the chances of them being the top scoring team on the slate compared to the teams in Coors or the teams in Texas is pretty low, I think. But I do think there's some good value. You mentioned Van Meter in particular. Suarez is always a strong option because of how much power he has as well.
All right, on to our next game. We have Atlanta in New York taking on the Metropolitans. You have Steven Matz at 7,400. We have Michael Fultonevich going against the Mets. As we mentioned last night on the Early Bird podcast, kind of a mixed bag here with what we've been getting from Fulte. Speaking of mixed bags, we'll have to see what sort of lineup the Mets put out there. But Pete Alonso, Michael Conforto, Brandon Nimmo, relatively solid. It really drops down after that with McNeil injured, and they're missing somebody else. I'm blanking on it. But in any event, how are you feeling here about this AL East battle?
I think that Fulte's a little more expensive than I would like on DraftKings. That being said, I could still see getting him into some tournament lineups just because, and it's something that we're going to mention a few times, the mid-range, like below 9K on DraftKings is almost entirely dead. So he's going to, even though he's not a great point per dollar option, he's still going to be one of the higher projected pitchers probably. So I think you could get some. I still don't love the spot, assuming the Mets run out a normal lineup or close to it. You know, it is a little bit watered down, like you said, but still good hitters here, and Fulte isn't a great strikeout pitcher, so there are a couple guys towards in his price range that I would prefer. As far as Matz, I don't like the matchup against the Braves. They do have a lot of right-handed power, but Matz is kind of in a class of his own amongst the mid-range pitchers, especially since we no longer have the White Sox and Tigers game on the slate either. So you lose Reynaldo Lopez from that price range, and basically you're left with Gio in Coors, Brett Anderson, an opener in Lucas Sims, a limited Garrett Richards. Like there's just nothing around Steven Matz, which is going to get him into some lineups.
All right. So I was just reading in chat there. They were talking about the Pirates won their Super Bowl last night. They walked it off for Steve Blass, who is retiring after 60 years. Wow, that's a long time in the old industry there, sort of like Vin Scully, who, good God, announced for like 65 years, something amazing like that. So always impressive. Clearly a changing of the guard from a lot of the stalwarts in announcing, but that is the way it goes. Father Time, undefeated. Adam, undefeated. Oh wait, so you said we've sorry, coughing fit there. I couldn't keep it in. Oh, Detroit Tigers and the White Sox. You said they have moved that game, isn't it? Like it's a twilight doubleheader now.
It's a standard doubleheader starting at 3:15 Eastern. So DraftKings took it off the slate.
All right, which is nice from that perspective. Here, I probably should open the old DraftKings there to catch that. I want to see. Keep an eye on what Yahoo is going to do with that one, because they are starting at, let me just see. So Yahoo is going to go with the first game of the doubleheader in their main slate, which is starting at 2:15. So we got all sorts of unique stuff here on Yahoo. We get a game nobody else has, two games nobody else has. And we have the main slate starting early, so definitely check that out and register for that one there. Chad is having a nice little laugh at my expense. That's quite all right. Quite all right. I've got the cough drops. I'm sad because, Adam, these are Ricola cough drops. It's sad that it's not Miles Mikolas. There we are. I managed to work it in on our final show. So let's walk on over that Detroit and White Sox game and get ourselves over here to the Cubs and Cardinals. We have Cole Hamels and Adam Wainwright. How have your thoughts adjusted, if at all, for Wainwright on that DK price point there at 9,400? We know that Nick Castellanos was a late scratch last night. Rizzo probably not going to play. Bryant for sure not going to play. And the Cubs not even playing for pride at this point, Adam. Do you want to guess the Cubs' current losing streak prior to last night?
7?
9.
Yeah, not great. So I mean, I think the analysis for Wainwright's really similar to what I said about Fultonevich, where from a point per dollar standpoint, the salary is a little bit more expensive than you would like, but you obviously just have to take what you're given. And with the mid range being as dead as it is, Wainwright's still going to come out as a pretty decent option in the context of that. I think I have him a little bit ahead of Fultonevich. There's a really good chance you get a bad Cubs lineup again. There's just no reason for any of Bryant or Rizzo or Castellanos or obviously Baez to be in it. So it's, essentially a lineup of backups and AAA players at this point. Wainwright's a decent pitcher. I would certainly prefer that he be like 7,800 instead of 9,400, but he's still, I think, a pretty decent option.
All right. Again, now shout out to chat for David there. He says, one last dad joke. Thank you. I know Adam's going to have a couple weeks without any dad jokes here because we won't do shows until NBA cranks up. So, or he and I won't do any pairings. So there we go. One last one just for the road. There, Adam. Just for the road. All right. Sorry, I was busy patting myself on the back. Did you mention anything about Cole Hamels there?
I did not. I think it's just a pretty tough spot for him. He's obviously in the same conversation with Fultonevich and Wainwright, but I think he'd be my third out of that group. You just have a lot of quality right-handed bats in this Cardinals lineup. They're still playing for something, so we should expect a good lineup coming out. So out of the three, I think it's close, but I would go Wainwright, Fultonevich, Hamels.
All right. So let's continue along here. Now we've got a fun one. We have the New York Yankees in Texas taking on the Rangers' Luis Severino. Yes, that Luis Severino making his third start. They're trying to knock all of the rust off, so he will be ready for the playoffs. He's going to be taking down a mediocre at best Texas lineup. We have a low 90s temperature at first pitch, 50% humidity there. Despite the good hitting conditions, I'm fired up for Severino today. I'm hoping for around 90 pitches. I'm okay paying $10,000 in the absence of the other pitching options that we have. This will cost us some hitters, both from the Yankees, Coors Field, or potentially Cincinnati, but this is one of the best pitching options on the night. And as we saw, Adam, last night, sometimes those cheap pitchers are priced cheaply for a reason.
Yeah, and I think that Severino stands out because, again, you don't have a very strong mid-range, so the opportunity cost isn't really that high. He may, or probably will, only throw like 85 to 90 pitches, but his strikeout stuff's just so much better than Fultonevich, Wainwright, and Hamels, who are all priced within $1,000 of him. I'll take 85 pitches of Severino compared to 95 of Wainwright any day.
All right. I'm choking up here. It's because we are actually I'm just double checking the starting pitching here on Yahoo. So reminder, I'm gonna say it again because this is an advantage for all of us. Early slate is their main slate, starting at 2:15 because of the Kansas City moving their game forward. We are going to get game one of that Detroit Chicago doubleheader. Matt Boyd, $30. Adam and I talked about this last night. I was just trying to verify that Boyd's not going in the second game, at least thus far during per the probable pitching page and everything on MLB.com and everything else I've looked at. Matt Boyd is starting the first game, so that is a steal and a half. All right, back over here to our own main slate here. With regards to the Yankees. Oh, God. Are they going to get Edwin Encarnacion back?
He was supposed to be back yesterday, so they said he's still day-to-day.
Well, Stanton homered at 4,400 last night. He's an amazing play. DJ LeMahieu had himself a moment. He is actually the most expensive hitter there, along with Edwin Encarnacion at 5,400 on DK. You have Urshela, Gregorius, Torres. This is an all-star team, Adam. Adam, they could have you and I haven't played competitive baseball since third grade Little League. You and I batting 8 and 9, and it'd still be an awesome lineup.
Yeah, they're unbelievable. You may not get Sanchez today since he played yesterday. Hopefully, Encarnacion's back. But regardless, they're going to have tons of power in this lineup. It's a great park in Texas. Luke Farrell opening. Not sure. Do we know who's following him?
I wrote it up as who? Is it Samson?
That's who I had seen last night, and that's what Fangraph says.
I'm gonna have to go change my write-up. Well, let me see. The write-up's not going to change. I'm just going to put the correct pitchers in because last night I had Edson Volquez and Ariel Gerardo. It doesn't matter that it's Luke Farrell and Adrian Sampson. It's still play any of the Yankees.
Sampson threw 36 pitches yesterday, so it probably isn't him.
Okay, I think it's going to be Volquez and Gerardo.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a bad pitcher that gives up home runs. So yeah, just roster the Yankees.
All right. Any of the Texas bats at all against Severino?
I don't think so. They're cheap enough, but with there being still 8 games on this slate, I think there's better spots to target.
All right. Okay. So I'm seeing 2 blurbs that say Farrell is going to open, but I agree with you. Why would it be Sampson? Let's look. Yeah, you are correct. He went yesterday. So keep an eye on that. If you end up with any multi-entry crunchers or optimizer settings where somehow you have the Texas pitchers as an option, perhaps on that 8-game slate, just be careful because you want to, well, maybe that would be the strategy, playing the guy that's not playing because he wouldn't go negative, but just keep an eye on that one. Let's see. We've got our couple more 8 o'clock games here. Garrett Richards going against Arizona. The roof will be open. It is going to be a pleasant 85 to 90 degrees there at first pitch in Arizona. I say pleasant because it's been in the 110s most of the summer there. We have Robbie Ray on the other side. Robbie Ray at 10,600. Going to be going against a relatively righty-heavy lineup. But this pod squad is an absolute mess. They've lost faith in Hunter Renfroe, but now he's probably going to be batting in the heart of the order. They brought up a bunch of, they're letting their September call-ups and their young guys play with Ty France, Urias, Naylor, etc. And the only guy that's really scary at this point is Manny Machado. And I'm really not going to be that terrified of him. I'd be more terrified of Robbie Ray imploding to anybody than I would any of these specific hitters doing the damage against him. Feels like Robbie Ray is going to edge out Severino for you.
Yeah, I think they're close. Ray, you get more pitches, but he's also really inefficient, so he doesn't necessarily project to go that much further into the game innings wise. He strikes out about 30% of hitters. He walks a lot. He's walked 11.3% of hitters. So the downside is that he walks a lot of guys, wastes a lot of pitches. Also has given up 1.5 home runs per 9 this year. The positive is that he struck out 31.3% of hitters. So he clearly has a really high ceiling. And he's affordable. He's 10,600. Again, that mid-range doesn't really offer anything in the way of opportunity costs. So I think the Rays are a really strong play just because he has better strikeout stuff than all the pitchers priced around him, with the exception of Severino. And he doesn't have the limitations that we expect Severino to have, even though he generally doesn't go deep in the games anyway.
And then the other fun note, the 12 home run per 9, or pardon me, 12 strikeout per 9 this season. Just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. As we turn our attention to the bats here for the Diamondbacks, if in the lineup, Jake Lamb at 2,800 on DraftKings, that's a tasty price point. However, he has earned that salary tag, Adam. I don't know what's happened, but he's let's just say he's the left-handed version of Hunter Renfroe at this point. Just been an absolute disaster, but I cannot look away from that price point. You've got Eduardo Escobar, who's favorably priced, and then Josh Rojas, who is also discounted if he's going to be near the top of the order there. Those are going to be the guys that can help you get Ray or Severino and some of those hitters from the Yankees in the Coors Field game here. Anything standing out against or for you going against Garrett Richards?
The salaries on the Diamondbacks are really affordable. It's the roof, I believe, is open.
Yep,
and so, so it should play more like a neutral park than a pitcher's park. Richards, is limited. You know, it's never really appealing when you get a guy with decent stuff or good stuff like Richards and then a bullpen game. But the salaries on the Diamondbacks are nice. The park should be more favorable for hitting than normal. I think they're a team that you could stack here, and it would let you get Verlander into your lineup if you were looking to do that.
Yes, Verlander. We're getting there. We're getting there. In the meantime, we're going to detour there in Coors Field. I already used up the dad joke for this one last night. Adam's already forgotten it, but that's okay. We've got the Brewers in Coors Field here, and we've got battling Gonzalez. We had 3 Lopez pitchers on the mound the other day. Today we've got 3 Gonzalez pitchers. Gio and Chi. I don't really want either one. Gio's been reasonable in small doses. It's still terrifying, but he's probably going to go 60 to 70 pitches there, 3 or 4 innings. If I'm going to target him, I mean, the obvious guys are going to be Story and Arenado because they have like a million isolated power each at home against lefties. Outside of those guys, I think we're okay with Garrett Hampson, who's been hitting home runs and stealing bases. I don't know where that came from. And then potentially Ian Desmond. If in the lineup they have been not resting, but giving the young guys at-bats at the expense of Desmond and Murphy recently, but I suspect we'll see Desmond in the lineup. What do you want to do here targeting against Gio Gonzalez?
Yeah, I mean, Story and Arenado, obviously the priorities. Charlie Blackmon, too, can handle left-handed pitching. Hampson and Desmond, they're both fine. One thing that Alex pointed out yesterday that I thought was a really good point is the way Milwaukee's using their starters in their bullpen right now, and they are still playing for something. So we don't expect Gio to go deep into this game, and then they have the arms in the bullpen to match up. So there's a good chance that you're getting pinch hitters, or at the very least, right-handed pitchers for guys like Hampson and Desmond as the game goes on. But we know Story, Arenado, and Blackmon aren't going anywhere. So really like those 3 in particular, obviously.
All right. On the other side, we have Chi Gonzalez. He has been, if you go look at his game logs, they have not been horrible, Adam. But he has just been living and dying on the old BABIP because when they hit him where they are, he does okay, especially when it's on the ground. When they hit him where they ain't, well, that's when he has some trouble. His home run per 9, not horrible. The 12% walk rate, not great. Sort of a mixed bag here. I don't think it's a complete slam dunk, but as we have said, the Brewers definitely playing for something here, and we know that they have some nice hitters. We'll have to see if Moustakas is in the lineup. He was out yesterday, but you've got Grandal, Braun, Hira, Grisham, Thames, variety of guys here. What would you like to do in targeting Chi Gonzalez, and is there any hesitation in going against him? Or any caution you want to say?
Get as much Milwaukee as you can. Obviously, we don't know if Moustakas or Braun will be in the lineup, but if they are, that's even better. Moustakas would be one of the best plays on the slate, I think. But they're expensive, but they're not overly priced considering they have a 7.5 implied run total here. And run totals in general across games are down this time of year because of the weather. So getting 7.5 from Milwaukee or 7 from the Yankees really stands out. Chi doesn't miss bats. He's not any good. The Brewers have plenty of good hitters, so I don't think there's a whole lot to say there.
All right, a pair of games left here on our final regular season Saturday for Major League Baseball. If you have not yet signed up for Yahoo, they are the presenting sponsor here. They do have the $400,000 baller going tomorrow. Adam is going to be hand building 150 lineups to get into that one. $10 entry fee, 10% management fee, $50K to first there. I've got my first few lineups in, and I'll drop the link into the YouTube chat. We do have a free article written by yours truly breaking down some of the tournament plays there for that contest. And then, hey, for fun, you can go find me. I got a bunch of $1 head-to-head games out there on Yahoo. Enjoy. Don't take them all. Let other people have a chance to have fun at my expense. Adam, in our second to last game, we have one Justin Verlander going against a mediocre at best Angels lineup. Let's wave off Jose Suarez. My condolences to all the Halos fans out there, but a 2.7 implied run total going against Verlander here. What is your estimation for Verlander's pitch count? 100 feels about right.
If that, he threw 92 his last time out. He threw 87 the one before that. I would expect somewhere between 90 and 100. I think that, as good as Verlander is, it's really difficult for me to prioritize him here because, for one, we don't have any good cheap SP2 options to pair him with to offset his salary. So, let's say you take Verlander plus $7,400 Steven Matz. That leaves you with $3,700 per position. That's not really where you want to be in tournaments, I don't think. And then on top of that, obviously no real reason for Houston to let Verlander go like 110, 115 pitches or anything like that. Just really, really expensive. So, and pretty much always will get ownership just because he is Justin Verlander. So I'm actually not really that interested in Verlander.
All right. Houston hitters, I guess any of them going against Suarez is probably a good way to go here. Go look at Suarez's game logs and then go look at the starting lineup for the Astros, which will be released, I'm sure, after lock because that's what they like to do these days.
907 game should maybe help.
It's the Astros.
Yeah.
It's the Astros. In any event, literally anybody in the lineup is a worthwhile play against Suarez. Any other additional analysis for this game?
I mean, Springer, Altuve, Bregman are the ones that really stand out. But yeah, anyone that's hitting for the Astros is a strong play.
All right, final game of the night. Couple of southpaws here. Marco Gonzalez, who would be a fine number 4, number 5 starter for most teams in the league. Does a decent job of limiting power, but he's adequate at best. On the other side, you've got Brett Anderson. Does not like to strike anybody out. He thinks strikeouts are fascist, apparently, Adam. A movie reference you did get, I hope, right?
No.
Damn it. Bull Durham.
I've seen it.
Yeah, well,
I don't remember.
He says, throw some ground balls. Strikeouts are fast.
Okay, yeah.
All right. In any event, what do you want to do here in our final nightcap?
Nothing with the pitching. Anderson just doesn't get enough strikeouts. Obviously it's a good matchup against Seattle, but really, really tough for him to actually exceed his salary. For Marco Gonzalez, he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts either and has a really tough matchup against the A's. Not a lot of strikeouts in that lineup, tons of power. The one thing working in favor of the pitchers is that it's supposed to be in the low 50s in Seattle, so ball's not going to carry. Home runs are going to be tough to come by. But I still think that Oakland's pricing is really, really cheap. I don't really know why, but Matt Chapman, 4K on DraftKings. Mark Canha, who came back yesterday, is 4,200. Chris Davis, still 3,400. Laureano is 4,300. It's a team that's really easy to stack, has tons of power, has a modest implied run total. So I wouldn't expect their ownership to be all that high compared to teams like the Yankees and the Brewers. So maybe a little bit of an off the board stack with Oakland.
Off the board stack, unless you're reading that Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article, Adam, because you just almost said verbatim what I put in last night. So there we are. I said, similar to last night, it's going to be in the mid-50s for this game, and Seattle's rolling out another southpaw, Marco Gonzalez. He's been decent and would be a back-of-the-rotation arm on most teams. Gonzalez does a good job of limiting power with a .86 home run per 9 to righties and a 1.3 home run to 9 to lefties since the beginning of last season. With this being just a 2-game late slate, we do not have a ton of options to choose from. We know that the Mariners' bullpen is still shaky. And even with the infusion of September call-ups, you like the use of infusion there? I do. Additionally, the Athletics are battling for home field advantage. In the wild card, this means we should see their best lineup. Don't worry so much about the power, but take their best all-around hitters. And Adam mentioned those guys. So that's the way to go for this final one. Let's hit a couple pitchers rankings here on Fanduel Yahoo, and then we will get on out of here. Verlander 11-4, Robbie Ray 9-3, Luis Severino at 9. I don't see a need to go below those guys.
Nope.
And I think it's mix and match. I'm fine with the discount you're getting there for Severino. So what can you do with the bats is going to be the question. Over on Yahoo. Again, 215 start, get in those games. You've got the bonus of Matt Boyd at $30. That is the 340 start. So if you're going to play and then wait for those late lineups, put Boyd in your lineup. Just double check that he is indeed starting game 1 of this game. Looking at the rest of the pitcher pricing here, Verlander 63, Severino 48, Ray 46. How would you rank those guys?
Verlander, Ray, and Severino.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm asking if those are the three.
Those are the three. Verlander at 63, Severino at 46, and Ray at 40.
Yeah, so I would go Ray, Severino, Verlander.
All right. And if you were to go Robbie Ray and Matt Boyd, you would still have $15 per hitter. if we go look at who is probably going to be starting there in Milwaukee and Colorado, you can probably get 4 hitters at least from that side. 3 of the good ones, 1 mediocre, or you could go to New York, and let's see, you could get pretty much a whole New York stack with those 2 pitchers. So check that out. Contests aren't really big, but again, it's starting at 2:15, so I suspect there will be a little bit of overlay. At 11 o'clock here, we've got our final DFS NFL strategy show. That is going to be, I think it's Chris Spags and Sal Vitri on this one. And then you're going to get On the Contrary. Actually, it's Chris. I think it's Chris Randone and Sal. And then you're going to get On the Contrary. After that, it's going to be Alex Baker, a special guest, and Chris Spags. Definitely check that one out. We're bringing in a guest host from around the industry, a different one each week. So that has been must-watch TV. With that, you can follow Adam on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. You can find me at EMACDFS. And of course, it is Awesemo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck. All right, we're clear.
Cool. On to basketball.